everybody, this is Sarah with soiledplant and welcome back to my channel. It is that time again where we do my top 5 and bottom 5 in my collection. I did a video like this last spring, summer sometime. My collection has expanded, contracted a few times since then, and when I compiled this list, I organically just wrote down the ones that I thought were my top and bottom 5, and I looked at that last video to make sure there wasn't any repeats, so you'll be happy to know there's no repeats. And I'll also point out that most of the plants on this list are not rare plants. There's a couple in there that are on the rare side, but mostly even on the rare scale, they're not super rare, they're more like on the uncommon. Yeah, these are all plants that bring me the most joy and the most frustration. Now, I'm just gonna start with this one right here because she is grabbing the most attention, being right in my periphery. But this is my Hoya Publicalyx Splash. I put this Hoya Publicalyx on a trellis a little bit ago. I posted it on Instagram, so you can follow me there if you want to see the occasional photo of my plants. I don't post there insanely often. But yeah, you can check out my Instagram if you want to see more of that. But overall, I've just really enjoyed having this plant. I bought it last, summer, spring sometime. I've only got 4 different Hoyas at the moment, and this was my second one. And this was the one that got me more into Hoya, where I was like, okay, I need to delve in, I need to find the ones I want. And this one definitely spoke to me. I like the shape of the leaves and how kind of oblong they are, and they can be on a little more on the chubby side, on the skinny side. I like the little splashing on there. Now, the reason I think this is a Hoya Publicalyx Splash, I have such a problem saying that, I always stumble over it. I think I have a splash because when new growth comes out, it's still green. It doesn't come out purple and then fade to green, which I think the normal Publicalyx does. So this one is definitely a splash variety. I love it. It's already grown a ton for me since I've gotten it. It's just in this little 4-inch pot, and it's been doing really well. And I think the common trope with Hoya is like the first year it survives and then the second year it thrives. This one started thriving before I even got to the end of the first year. I haven't even had this a year yet. I definitely love the style of the Hoya Publicalyx. It's starting to get some new growth on here. Like this part right here is brand new in yellow. So it's definitely starting to grow. It's springtime. I'm seeing little nubs here and there. I have not gotten it to flower. I have not gotten any Hoya to flower. I think I'm too scared to kind of force the conditions to get them to flower, aka give them less light, because I'm paranoid that they're gonna die on me. Because I'm not like amazing at taking care of Hoya yet. I'm still very much a novice, so I'm getting used to it, but I really, really like this one, and I dig the way it looks. Hoya Publicalyx, this one happens to be a splash. I'm sure I'd like the regular one too, but Hoya Publicalyx. The next one on my list that I absolutely love right now is this one right here, and it is my Pothos Pearls and Jade, Pothos and Joy. I think they're the same thing, because some of these leaves definitely have an Enjoy look to them where it's only the solid green and solid white, and then there's other leaves that have the more mottled, like speckly white and green, which is more the Pearls and Jade. I think they're the same thing, but I love this plant. I think honestly that this is a plant that I would recommend to pretty much anybody. Pothos are very easy to care for. This one needs like a little bit more light than say your standard Jade Pothos or your golden Pothos. It needs like a little bit more light, but not a ton more. I have this hanging next to a western window, but it's not like in front of the window, it's off to the side, so it gets very little direct light. It's pretty much all like medium to low indirect light, and it does fantastic. I don't have to water it super often. I have it in this little macrame hanger, and I literally have it hanging there, and I never take it down. I have this plastic drip tray, which is not like the cutest thing in the world, but I will just bottom water this once a week, like fill it up to the top, let it schlook it up, and then pour like another halfer in there. And it's never wilted, it's never looked sad. Like my Jade Pothos looks sad all the time because I think it's root bound or pot bound, but this one is doing fantastic. It's lovely. I've taken cuttings of this and given them to people through Facebook sales and whatnot. I absolutely love this plant. I can't wait for it to sort of trail a little bit more. It's kind of the unsung hero of my collection. It fits the spot that I put it in perfectly, and it gives me no trouble, 0 trouble. Probably one of my favorite finds of all time. And while these are harder to find than say like your standard pothos varieties, I still got this for relatively inexpensive. Like I want to say this is a 6-inch basket and I got it for, I don't know, you're like $17 to $23 range, like right around there, which unfortunately right now is kind of standard for hanging plants. I love her. She's the best. Highly, highly recommend. Next, I'm actually going to pull from behind me here and get out my beautiful, lovely frame stealing Calathea orbifolia. This one I think is a favorite in the plant community for a reason. This one is definitely more on its own as far as what its looks are. There's not much that looks like this. And I know they're Goperdia now, but it's a Calathea in my heart until like my stubborn brain can remember Goperdia. But it's part of the Maranta family anyway. It's still under that umbrella. So I have this in a self-watering pot and I make sure that it's full and it does really well. This one this time last year was having a hard time. I had ordered it online in the middle of winter because I'm an idiot, and it was beautiful and lush, and then it lost pretty much all of those leaves. I'm guessing, but I think all of the leaves that you see here are ones that have grown since then. And I've lost a few of mine that I've grown along the way, but I find that if you just keep this one watered, it's much less finicky than other Calathea, especially when it comes to humidity. It is still finicky when it comes to watering. My humidifier can only do so much in the winter, so the real humidity I'm getting in here is closer to like 45 to 55% on the coldest days in the winter. And this one didn't really get brown tips at all. There's one that's browning, but I think that one's also just like dying. But all of these other ones, there's hardly any brown tips. There's like brown edges, anything like that. I haven't had a ton of wrinkling or anything like that. But for sure, I would say that this one is on the best list, my top 5 list, because it's so unique. And as far as Calatheas go, it's very, very easy. And I just love the look of it. I think it's a truly just like one-of-a-kind type of plant. And I get why a lot of people are obsessed with these. And I am also, I guess, in that category of being obsessed with these. The next one that's on my favorite list is also from behind me, and this is my Calathea Worskoweskii. This one's a little harder to find, once again. This one, you know, they're not expensive. They're not expensive, like insanely expensive once you do find them, but they're just kind of hard to find. I got lucky when I found this one. It was at a place that had a huge shipment of like super rare stuff that were like hundreds of dollars, and then they had this one for like $30, and I was like, yoink. Check. Put that in my basket. Love it. Now this one is a little hit and miss for me. I have certain little groupings, because if you're familiar with Calathea, I'll see if I can show you. You can't see me at all, but that's all right. You want to see the plant. So with Calatheas, they have kind of like little stalk groupings. You have like, I have this one right here that has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 leaves on it. And oh my gosh, this is actually fuzzy. Don't mind me. I'm just like groping my plant. Inappropriate. Okay, so this is a grouping. This is a grouping where it has a few leaves. And then this is a stalk that has a bunch of groupings as well up at the top. For this plant, I will say 100% that 2 of the little groupings I have are like A+, gangbusters, just mwah, amazing. But then I've got the third one, which is this super tall one that I have staked up with a little bamboo pole. You'll notice like this leaf is on the way out, this leaf's on the way out, but a lot of these are wrinkling, I think because of inconsistent watering that I had a few months ago. But the ones on the top are doing much better. I've got this sandwich between my thighs just for your own curiosity there. But like this one's beautiful, this one's beautiful, this one over here is beautiful. This one is beautiful, but it's got some browning on the end. And then I've got this new growth point right here that looks like it's gonna be great. It's just all the ones below it are just like sad. Let's not dwell on the negative, right? Like, can we talk for a second about these leaves? They are fuzzy. Like when you think velvet and you're like, oh, Philodendron gloriosum, no. These are so soft. You know when you have that super nice blanket that's just like lightly fuzzy and it's almost foamy feeling, like, but but you kind of run your fingers over it and it's just like little tiny, like little angel kisses every time you like touch it. That's what this feels like. It's on the front, it's on the back, it's on the stems. They're all just like beautifully soft and just supple and beautiful. You've got the maroon backs, which are insane. You've got the beautiful pattern on the front with the light green sort of dusting on the inside with that like dark, deep, like sultry kind of green. Like, I'm sorry, this is a sexy plant. You know, it draws your eye in, it's sultry, it's soft. It's like wearing a silk robe is basically what this is in terms of like plants. Does that make any sense at all? Am I being a little creepy? I apologize. But yeah, two of the stalks are beautiful. This stalk right here in the front in particular has this leaf, this big ol' honkin' leaf, and then this leaf and this tall one. Ugh, this tall one. This is giving me an arm workout holding this and moving it up and down. But these are gorgeous. The brown tips I noticed and the wrinkling stopped as soon as I put it in the self-watering pot and as soon as it was getting that water consistently. I have not had issues with this one with the humidity of like 45 to 55% in the winter. It has not started getting crunchy or anything like that. Like this leaf here has like the teeny tiniest little just like beep, 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 little like browning on the edge, but like whatever. It's fine. For the most part, this is doing just fantastically well. I do have one question about this plant though, and it's the stalk that's not doing well. It looks funky. Let me see if I can show you what I mean. All right, we're doing this vlog style. This growth point right here, you know, it's got this long stalk that's just a single stalk, whereas with Calathea normally you'll have like a stalk and then it branches out and then you have multiple growing in between, kind of like a bird of paradise. But this one, it is a single stalk. You go up and then it's got this point where then it starts kind of branching off and doing this sort of thing. But you see what I'm talking about with that? And I'm wondering, this stalk is so long, gangly, and awkward. I'm wondering, can I cut this down here and root it? Because this almost looks like aerial roots to me, right? Like this isn't bugs, this isn't anything else. This is literally like, it looks like aerial roots. So I wonder, for you Calathea experts out there, can I cut this off and grow from that point? That is my question. But yes, this Calathea Worskoweskii is definitely more than I ever could have hoped it would be. It was a little frustrating for a while when I couldn't get it to grow leaves that weren't wrinkly and half dead, and magically it just came down to watering. So water this one correctly and it'll be like this. Lesson learned. The last one that rounds out my top 5 list is my Alocasia Dragon Scale. So I've got 2 of these and I thought I would show you both. Feast your eyes on this gorgeousness. How in the world do these exist? Basically, I think these are 10 out of 10 plants. This is perfect. I wish that I could grow these so big that it would be a floor plant. I would love that. I want bird of paradise leaves this big. And honestly, if I could get that, like, the world would be a better place for me. Honestly. I'd probably never leave my house. Not that I really leave my house right now anyway. Thanks, COVID. Waiting on that vaccination. But the other thing I really like about it is that it seems to like me. I've got, you know, these leaves that seem to have these little spots, but this one was also coming out when I got the plant. Like this was already a leaf about to come out. So I'm gonna blame the nursery for that one because that helps me sleep at night. But yeah, I'll just blame whoever grew this plant before I got it. But this one, it only has one little mark like that, and this one is the one that I grew. No, wait, I got that backwards. I got that backwards. This is the one from the nursery, and this is the one I grew. Well, there you go. I guess I can't sleep tonight. I don't view that as a detriment to my care. If it does this again, then that'll be my fault, for sure. You know, these are the leaves that it started with when I got it, and then these are the 2 leaves that came out since I've gotten it. Same with this one. These were the leaves that I had before, you know, little crunchy ones just from all the traveling and, you know, going from Florida to nursery to my house, like it'll do some damage to you. But these leaves, these big old honking bad boys, these ones are ones that I've grown in my care, in my conditions, and also in my little greenhouse. So it is getting more ideal conditions, better, more consistent light, and also higher humidity. So take it with a grain of salt that this is beautiful. Because honestly, if I was growing this like out and about, I don't know if it would do the same thing. These were on my wish list that I made back in the fall. Highly recommend. It's fulfilled everything I've ever wanted them to, and I love them unconditionally. I did end up buying 2 because I thought the price that they were selling for was pretty reasonable. I mean, these ones are classified as rare plants, rare meaning just hard to get your hands on, but it's still a plant that you can get for under $100. And there's definitely people out there who wouldn't pay more than $20 or $30 for a plant. Like, I totally understand where you're coming from. That's completely reasonable and honestly very respectable. I wish I had that much self-control, but these ones I think were about $50 a piece, which is not too shabby at all. Maybe it was 70, I can't remember. Either way, because it was a wish list plant and because I thought they were a good size and a decent price, I decided to go for 2 of them just in case one died on me, because I didn't want to have to risk not having this plant once I've had it. So definitely love these, super happy I have them. They bring a little light to my life. I love them so much. So definitely top 5. All right, now for the bad news. We're gonna go for the bottom 5. Unlike last time when I made this list, last time I did plants that were just kind of not doing it for me, and I ended up either getting rid of or just disposing of a lot of those plants that were on my bottom 5 last time. And this time, there's not too many of those. A lot of these are ones I'm definitely going to keep and work on. It's just they're kind of either causing me stress or just not bringing a ton of happiness right now. So I do still love these for the most part. I think you know what I mean. The first one I'll mention is actually the one that I have actually been considering getting rid of, and that is my black coral snake plant. This is one that I bought from a nursery, and everything I bought from that nursery has died. I have not bought from that nursery ever again. I was looking for a black coral snake plant because I do love my snake plants. I think they're very architectural, very good, like space-filling plants while still being interesting and beautiful. I like the black coral one because I like the idea of having a darker snake plant and one that has sort of that deeper green, almost black color. This one, however, it was very dark, and I feel like the newer growth is lighter and almost like regular green. This is a new stalk right here that looks to be doing fairly well for itself. You'll notice that a lot of these have this like sort of fungusy growth on them. This one, the top just fell off in my hand. I've had to cut off sections. I've come home to whole leaves just laying flat because the base had rotted out. I just feel like that's something that just comes intrinsically wrong with the plant, at least for snake plants. You can't really stop it from happening, and once it happens, you just have to accept it. But it was definitely gross. It was kind of gross because it would fall over and you could almost like pull it straight out, but it would like gush out water when you pulled it out. It was, I'm sure those of you who have snake plants and have had this problem know exactly what I'm talking about, but it's really nasty looking. And there are a few leaves that are still fine. This one's fine. This new section's fine. And the ones that I cut the top off, like sometimes I'll still lose the leaf even if I cut the top off, but these ones, they have been sticking around for a while. I haven't had anything get worse on this plant for a few months, so that gives me a little bit of hope that it's on the rebound and it's not going to have more problems in the future. Yeah, I don't know what to do with this plant. Part of me thinks I should just like take this new stalk out since it seems to be doing just fine and plant it by itself, but that would be a little ridiculous. It's like a whalefin sansevieria, but just really tiny and really skinny. Yeah, this one doesn't do it for me. But I'm hoping in the springtime I'll get a few more stalks like this and kind of refill out again. And it's certainly not taking up a ton of space. I have to water it once a month or every other month. So it's not like it's taking up a lot of personal mental capital. If you told me, Sarah, like take one of your plants and throw it out immediately, this one would definitely be a contender. As of right now, there's no plants that I want to get rid of. I like the collection I have right now. Like I went from having 3 Monstera down to 1, and the other 2 I ended up gifting to good friends of mine. I'm just trying to spread the love a little bit. But this is the only one in the bottom 5 that I would even consider getting rid of. Next on the list might be a little bit of a shock, and it was kind of a shock to me too when I was putting this list together, but this cream splash philodendron is just, it's frustrating me right now. I definitely think that this has the potential to turn around and, have myself fix this, have it get better, and it'll be fine. But I ended up buying this on a Facebook sale, and it was a decent price for the plant and the condition. It was rooted and all that kind of stuff. Like, it was fine. But the pieces that you see that have good variegation are the ones that I got from the seller. All of these ones with little tiny, hardly any variegation on them at all are the ones that I've grown myself. So I'm clearly not getting something right with these. And I've got this stalk over here that grew this little piddly whatever. And this one looks to be a decent leaf, but this is the one I grew, and it's definitely small and deformed, but it does have good variegation on it. And then this one just came out, and it's also teeny tiny. So I'm like, I'm trying to figure this one out. I think it needs more light, and it probably needs more consistent watering. Like, that's the answer 95% of the time when your plant's not happy. It's like, are you watering it the right amount? Is it getting enough light? So I moved this one like recently, as in like this morning. I actually moved this one to a sunnier spot and faced it towards the window a little bit more. I definitely spun this one and put it right next to kind of facing the window itself. So I'm hoping in the springtime with more light and me putting it in a spot with more light, I'm hoping that this will rebound, but it's just like, it's fine. But considering I spent like $50 on this thing, it's not the cutest in the world. When it comes to my heartleaf philodendrons, almost all of my other ones are doing so much better than this one. As of appearance-wise, this one is definitely not the top notch. It's still a really good plant, and I think that I can rehab this one and bring it back to its glory, but it'll take a little while, and it might not be till like next year until it looks like full and beautiful. So, philodendron cream splash, bottom 5. The next one on my list, I'm going to go behind me again, and that is to pull out my Stramanthe Trio Star. This is my second Stramanthe Trio Star. I have no idea why they hate me so much. At first I thought I was waterlogging it, and I think I kind of was, so I ended up putting it in this cover pot with rocks in the bottom to allow some air circulation. But this one has just been angry since I brought it home. My last one was this way too, and it will brown tip, brown edges, every single one. This is a new growth, and it's getting kind of, the sides are getting that fungusy looking nasty, and it's rolling and soft. This new growth that's coming in has the exact same like rolling soft brown edges thing going on. I've got this stalk back here that this one actually looks a-okay. It's tiny, but it looks a-okay, and it's got new growth coming in. It's like, it's trying to live, and there's something I'm doing to this that it's just not happy with. I don't know if it's inconsistent watering. I think I'm doing okay with watering because my other two Stramanthe that I have are just like loving life and growing and revitalizing themselves because they also went through it. This one actually makes me a little sad because I actually love Stramanthe Trio Stars. They are some of the most beautiful plants in the world to me. They've got the green, they've got the white splashing, they've got pink splashing, they've got the maroon backs. I'm desperate to have one of these love me. I really am. I don't know if I'm just getting bad specimens. If it's rotting on the side, does that just mean it's diseased and this is a losing fight and a losing battle? I don't know. And I feel like I'm actually, like my voice is actually like getting choked up. I'm really upset that I can't make one of these grow. I'm not like blaming myself necessarily, but at the same time, like, I can make all of these other calatheas. This is one of the hardest calatheas to grow, and it's doing great in my care. And this common one that a lot of people don't even try, and it does really well, and I'm killing this consistently, and this is my second one. And my normal rule is if you kill it twice, you don't buy it again. If this one dies, I don't know if I will end up buying another one ever again. And that's the part that makes me sad. So I will try to revitalize this. I will do my best to make sure it's improving. I'll do what I can and do whatever my skill level will allow. I will try it and kind of see what happens with it. But yeah, she's sad. Yeah, my Stramanthe Trio Star, super sad lady. And she's going back over here. To stick to the Calathea bandwagon, this plant is also on my bottom 5. This is my Calathea White Star. She's been through it, you know. I I actually have 2 of these, but this is the only one I have with leaves on it. The other one is just little stalks. My thing is, when it comes to calathea, when they die back, give them a year to try and grow back. And odds are they will. I shouldn't say odds are, I'd say maybe you got like a 65% chance that they'll grow back, and then they'll be better than ever and just like explode, basically. This is kind of the situation I got going on. This one almost has all of its leaf, like the green part of its leaf, gone. I will keep these on just so that it photosynthesizes. The other thing that happened with this one is I had a winter bout of spider mites that hit these, my alocasias, and I think a couple other plants as well. But I think right now, I don't think I have any, like God forbid. But being a fan of calathea and alocasia, like I just get spider mites like crazy. But all it is just try and keep on top of it, spray your plants every once in a while, and hope for the best. When I bought these 2 white stars, I actually put them in quarantine like you're supposed to, and then it had spider mites. So I got spider mites on these plants from the nursery. So for these, I won't necessarily take the blame for them, but at the same time, this is the end result. So I'm hopeful for the future for these. They are very, very beautiful when they are healthy and brand new, but these ones, this is just what happens sometimes when you buy plants from nurseries. They might come home with bugs. So that's what happened with this one. But yeah, I'm gonna keep trying with this one and with the other one. I bought 2 specifically to try and hope that one of them survives. So as soon as one of them survives, or like if both survive, I'll probably conjoin them into one pot. This is just a waiting game until it gets better. And the last one that's on my bottom 5 might actually shock you, maybe it won't, but this is actually one of my favorite plants. It's just they're scaring me and frustrating me right now and causing me stress, so I put them on the bottom 5. I say them because this is another plant I have 2 of, but it is my Alocasia Frydek, which this is my good one, and it's doing much better now, but I lost about half of these leaves at one point, and it just did not do well. I'll show you my other one, which is right here, and this one is a little more what this one looked like a few months ago. This one's a stem and a couple of little scragglies. I feel like most people's Alocasia Frydeks kind of end up looking like this one, where they've only got a few leaves and it's just kind of tall and gangly and awkward looking, so people don't really like them. They like what the leaves look like, but they don't like the growth pattern, so they tend to kind of look like this. But this one right here was kind of my star pupil, my star student that I loved very much. These ones also got spider mites consistently. Like, part of me has been trying to like segregate these and make sure these are not touching my calatheas or my other alocasias, just to make sure they're not spreading spider mites to anything else. The spider mites that I get are mostly coming from this plant and the other one. And I don't know if that's typical of this plant or if I'm just unlucky. I do spray these all the time, but it's starting to rebound and it looks pretty darn good as of now. The spring and the more light and everything, basically from February to now, has just been like perfect for it. But the last 6 months with these 2 plants has just been like nerve-wracking. I've cleaned these with my sort of scrubbing method at least 5 times over the winter. They're kind of high maintenance plants, and I still love them. I will always keep them. I'm not going to get rid of them, but they're a little high maintenance. I will say that. But yeah, she's getting cuter. If this video happened a month from now, this probably wouldn't still be on the list. I'd probably have something else on the list instead. But when I was compiling, I'm like, what plants have just been like rubbing me the wrong way? These ones have been rubbing me the wrong way. But that's okay. I still love you. We're still going to get along. We're still a family, okay? We're still family. I won't quit you, I promise. And that concludes this video. If you made it this far, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much, and I will catch you next time. Bye. Bye. Name a cuter plant, I dare you. I dare you.